Good morning and welcome to the Frontiers of Knowledge segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Today happens to be the Earth Day, and the theme of this Earth Day focuses on restoring the pristine glory of the earth, natural processes, emerging green technologies, innovative thinking. All that is needed to restore Earth's ecosystem, and the theme of this year's Earth Day rejects the notion that mitigation or adaptation are the only ways. No, it is up to each and every one of the inhabitants of this earth to restore the earth, not just because we care about nature and natural world, but because we live on it. We all need a healthy earth to support our lives, jobs, health, survival, happiness. And that is what is required. But then let's not forget another thing, that you cannot restore the earth unless you know the changing earth. If we go by the old thoughts of the creation of the world, that was okay. Whether it's the religious books or the theory of evolution, we have seen that the earth was created and there's no limit to the earth. The entire phenomenal earth is in fact a result of creation process. And that creation is similar to the creation of the five elements, much like the pearl in the oyster shell, which is created by covering a grain of sand only. And that becomes ultimately a pearl. In the Sikh religion, in Japji Sahib, there is ample evidence of that, where nature is given prominence, whether it is in the last one when they say earth is compared to the mother. And then in Japji Sahib again, when it's written Panch Parvan, Panch Pradhan, the whole thing is basically a result of God's creation because they were religious. And the most important thing is that God created the vast expanse of the universe with one word. Hundreds and thousands of years, rivers began to flow. So it was a creative potency that's described over there when there's a reference to Kita Pasao Ekoko, Teske Ahoe Lakhtara, that hundreds and thousands of rivers. And then rivers are regeneration of life. And that one word, creation. But the same thing is repeated. Pavan Guru Pani Pita Mata Tat Mahat. That environment is more important. Mother Earth. Pavan is Guru, the wind. Pani, water is the father. So the environment has been stressed in Sikh religion and in Hindu religion a lot. But then come back. We know the earth. But are we aware that as everything has an enhanced momentum, so is earth. In the last 50 years, Earth's speed has increased, is whipping around much more quickly. And last year, that's 2020, the Earth completed its revolutions around its axis much quicker than the average one. There were 28 fastest days on record last year since 1960. So in these 50 years, the speed of the Earth has increased. And what's going to be the result? The result is that the whole system of the time would have to change. The ultra accurate atomic clock, which meter out the coordinated universal standard time, UTC, by which everyone sets the clock. Now that astronomical time is set by the time it takes by the Earth to make one full rotation. And there's a deviation now last year by zero point 0.4 seconds. So every year, what has been happening is we have been adding one leap second to the year, with the result that we added full one day to the leap year. But now the leap seconds are tagged on because the overall trend of the Earth's rotation has been decreasing and now it has jumped. So they have added leap seconds about every year and a half now. And that according to the National Institute of Standards and Technology. The last edition came in 2016 when on the New Year Eve, 23 hours, 59 minutes, 59 seconds, and an extra leap second was added. Now, whether it will have an effect on the climate, whether it will have an effect on the atmospheric pressure, the scientists still are not sure. But the scientists are talking for the first time about a negative leap second. So instead of adding a second, they might need to subtract one. This is because the average length of a day is 86,400 seconds. But an astronomical day in 2021, this year, would clock in 0.05 milliseconds shorter. Again, as I said, the scientists are still not sure what's going to happen. But this is something really, really amazing. And then water. We have been talking of the water as a liquid. But now we find that water is not one liquid. Actually, it's two liquids in one. When you supercool liquid water to temperature lower than average achieved, then you would see that the water can exist as two different liquids simultaneously. So supercooled water, liquid water cooled below its freezing point without being allowed to freeze has been baffling scientists for decades. But now the liquid water has been manipulated, is transformed into ice. Crystallization is different, but now they're supercooling it. By supercooling, they mean they don't let it freeze, but the cooling is much below that. And beyond the freezing point, it still retains its liquid form. And then they have seen that ultimately it's not one liquid, it's two liquids combined together. It doesn't change the chemical composition as far as the oxygen and hydrogen is concerned. But the surprising thing is that in the right circumstance, when you find two liquids in one, you can separate them. They'll have the same chemical, but then they'll have different physical properties. As a matter of fact, this has been done in the US Department of Energy's Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. The findings were seen recently. And during experiments in the lab, the team fired a laser at a thin film of ice, creating momentary bursts of thawed super cooled water at extremely cold temperature. And they were amazed in incredible short window of time. And each window was about a few nanoseconds. They found water existing as two clear, distinguishable forms. The liquid, the structure was different. Chemically, they were same, but physically, there was a lot of a difference. So here goes Earth is increasing its speed. Water is not one liquid, but two. But then, are you aware that recently they have found there are more than half a century, 50 new environmental chemicals have been detected in the people. They were not there earlier. But these chemicals have been discovered in the study of pregnant women and their newborns. These 50 new environmental chemicals lurking in the people's body, vast majority of them which are not known, these chemicals, which have never been observed before, were discovered, as I said. And this they call PFAS. PFAS is Program on Reproductive Health and Environment. And they say this is amazing because when a woman is pregnant, it's a very vulnerable period of development. And the University of California, Environmental Research and Translation and Health, they have seen that this can be extremely harmful. So the newly detected chemicals, PFAS, as I said, are they're in non-stick cookware, they are in pizza boxes, they stay in human body for a long time and can accumulate. And they can have very adverse effects. As a matter of fact, they reduce the autoimmune system. Maybe coronavirus is one of the side effects of that. The ravaging, I mean, the disease came, but the resistance to the disease has increased. Now, out of these 50, there are 37 chemicals about which the scientists say they have no knowledge about. They're mysterious chemicals. And how did it happen? They recruited 30 pregnant women, and then they found their, analyzed their blood, their protein, their muscles, the blood samples, and they used a high resolution mass spectrometry process, which determines the different masses of the compounds to identify them. And they were able to take snapshots of all the chemicals present, and they were amazed. There are 50 new chemicals which they had never seen before. Out of that 37, they could identify. The rest 13, they could at least identify them. Totally, in all the 30 women, they found 109 chemicals which were present both in the maternal and the cord blood samples. 55 had never been seen before. 37, they still have not been able to identify. Rest they have identified. But 37, they have still not identified. Now, is this a step in the further evolution? I can't say. But let me tell you, according to Dmitry Abarsam, the guy who is leading this research, he says it's a matter of worry. A, it will make people more susceptible to all the issues. But then, as I say, again in Gurbani, Sikh religion, you cannot identify patala patal, lakakasa agas, hundreds of underworlds and hundreds of skies, hundreds and thousands of skies, and you don't identify the reality. Maybe that's happening. And then we talk of the solar system, we talk of the space, we talk of the stellar system. Are you aware that every year 5,200 tons of the dust from the other planets is falling on the Earth every year. 5,200 tons of extraterrestrial dust falls on Earth. And these dust particles far outweigh the larger flashier meteoroids. When a meteoroid hits Earth, there are news and discussions and everything. But 5,200 tons are falling every year and nobody talks about. This gentle rain of bits of the comets and asteroids outweighs the larger meteoroids that hit the Earth. And this was published not long back. On April 15th, I was seeing the journal Earth and the Planetary Science Letters. And I found this. And out of that, only about 10 tons of the largest space rockets and terrestrial dust land, the larger ones are 10 tons, but 5,200 tons, that means 5,190 tons are very fine dust, which falls and we are not even aware of that. They say we can't detect it, but near French Italian Concordia Research Center in Antarctica, snowfall is very predictable. And they have seen terrestrial dust. 20 years, the French National Center for Scientific Research has been studying this. They have collected the particles, and the layers of the space dust are well enough preserved in the region for research. So, this is what our word is, which we have got to preserve, which we have got to restore to its pristine glory. And interestingly, when the new facts come to, we are also aware of the dangers. So we have got to take care that the dangers are bypassed. Think about the lovely earth and restoring it. And then dangers, the pitfalls, the hurdles, the impediments that we have got to overcome. Thank you.